All right, thank you so much for your interest. I just want to be clear from the outset that we are doing this collaborative work every single day, to improve the quality of life of the citizens in this district, and particularly in the city of Detroit. We are doing this work every day. But today we are here to announce our enhanced summer enforcement. Much like last year, we are again addressing the most violent neighborhoods in Detroit, and they continue to be sections in the 8th precinct and sections in the 9th precinct. And so we're here to announce that enhanced summer enforcement strategy, and with the hopes that we are going to make a difference in those communities. So DPD, Detroit Public Police Department, has identified 6 scout areas, 3 in the 8th precinct and 3 in the 9th precinct as the summer hotspots. For those arrested in those areas or have a meaningful connection to those areas, this executive team of the One Detroit Partnership has agreed and collaborated and determined that individuals will be prosecuted in federal court for all provable felon in possessions for high-risk individuals. They will be immediately prosecuted in federal court for all provable possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. We will take all cases involving possession of guns with conversion switches. We will take all carjackings and Hobbs Act robberies, that's commercial robberies, from these hotspot areas during this period. Just like last year, our summer enforcement, everybody knows that Memorial Day is the unofficial beginning of summer. And so this will begin on Memorial Day, and it will continue through Labor Day. In addition, about this partnership, as I said, we are doing this collaborative work every single day. We're working together like never before to focus on the violence, the most dangerous people, and the most dangerous places. DPD reviews gun arrests twice a day to determine the risk level of the arrestee. That information is then communicated to ATF for immediate review for federal prosecution, and then to the FBI, the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, and to my office for an immediate decision on who will take the case. In this collaborative way, the most dangerous people will be prosecuted immediately in federal court. Guns that have been converted to fully automatic sometimes go undetected because now the conversion switches, which used to be on the outside, are within the gun, and officers oftentimes can't see the conversion switches on the guns because they are now placed within the guns. So DPS, the NIBIN, National Integrated Ballistic Information Network analyst at DPD, will flag those firearms with conversion switches. The FBI will send agents to carjackings and robbery scenes immediately to work directly with the Detroit Police Department at the scene and gather evidence and participate in investigations. In addition to that, there will be direct coordination between the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office to determine the best forum for prosecution. We are doing this in earnest, and we will not stop. We will not stop.
Well, I really want to thank the U.S. Attorney for the leadership. We have way too many families in Northwest and Northeast Detroit, the 8th and 9th precincts, that aren't safe in their neighborhoods, who too often go to sleep at night to the sound of gunshots. And we have never seen this kind of focused attention from the U.S. Attorney's Office and the federal government as you're seeing here, bringing in the prosecutor, bringing in the police department, and delivering a message that has 2 sides to it. One is that if you're committing gun crimes in this area, you're going to have the full force of federal law enforcement. But the second is what U.S. Attorney Eisen has done with the peaceniks in creating activities to show we care about the quality of life. We don't want to lock anybody up. The reason the U.S. Attorney is here today saying the federal resources are going to be there is to say to folks in those neighborhoods, this is a chance for you to take advantage of the good programs, but if you don't, there's enforcement coming. And there are so many pieces fitting together right now. Chief White's 12-point plan for downtown, at least for the last 5 weeks, has proven successful. The chief and I just left the Michigan legislature that's putting in a $100 million revenue sharing statewide for more police officers in this state. County Executive Warren Evans and the prosecutor and the judges at Third Circuit and 36th District are really solving the docket backlog. Todd Bettison with Shot Stoppers is going to be out in the next month with his prevention, which will, I think, work very well with the U.S. Attorney's program. But of all of those things, there will be no area of this city that has a more focused response effort this summer than the 8th and 9th precinct. And I'm really optimistic that the neighbors will see that. And Madam U.S. Attorney, I just want to say thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, thank you. Madam Prosecutor?
Thank you. I love this city. I live here. I work in the city, and I raise children here. But I do have to say that I'm saddened by what is currently happening in certain areas of our city. Since January 1, our records show that there have been 865 cases of serious assault, and this is citywide, homicide, carjackings, armed robberies, and these are the cases that are only presented to us. So we are losing the battle against gun violence, and that is why this effort is so very and critically important. We're all tired of these assaults to our city. I think we all are. But none of us can fight this battle alone, and this is where collaborations come in, and I have to say this is one of the most far-reaching collaborations I've been involved in. For those of you who know me, I didn't want to be a part of another task force. Task forces are name only that don't do anything, but this is different. This is extremely different. It is fueled by people and places who want to work on this issue every single day, passionately, earnestly, and completely. We need to be doing everything everywhere all at once to solve this problem. All hands on deck. Today and through the summer, though, we will be laser focused on the areas laid out by the U.S. Attorney and the Mayor with dedicated federal resources and true global community involvement, a true holistic and global approach that I believe will work. So I stand here fully committed. We have to do better and we have to be better. And this is a blueprint for success.
What a great day for the city of Detroit. Leaving the legislature, coming here and hearing again that we're about to launch this program that we've been working on for months. The commitment of the prosecutor, the mayor's office, and our U.S. attorney has just been unbelievably amazing, and it's going to really position us for success. We're going to be out there. We know statistically that this time of year, as we go into the summer months, crime goes up. We know that the data that we see, and we use data to inform a number of our policing decisions in our department, in our crime intelligence unit. We know that we can anticipate upticks of crime and violent crime in the 8th and 9th precinct. This level of disruption is going to be impactful, but the other part that the mayor talked about and the U.S. attorney has talked about is that layered approach. We recognize that everybody's not a criminal. We recognize that there's a number of things that influence crime. Folks are going to have an opportunity to make better decisions. But for those who don't, for those who choose to victimize our community, we're going to be laser focused, and they're going to get the full attention of the Detroit Police Department, this partnership, federal and state partners, to get you off the street and to lessen the likelihood of victimization for people who live, work, and visit our wonderful city. So again, Attorney Eisen, thank you very much. As a chief, this is a good day for me to take this information back to my command team and to roll up our sleeves and continue the efforts that we have and know that we have a true partner in this fight against violent crime is just something that is so welcomed by all of us. And Madam Prosecutor, thank you as well. Thank you.
I hope that you recognize the passion and commitment of these One Detroit partners, some of whom have not spoken but are here. We are committed because we are One Detroit, and we won't stop trying to make a better Detroit, a better, safer Detroit. We won't stop. So we'll take questions. Yes, Jessica.
As far as why the 8th and 9th are in particular focused, do we know why? Is it too bad actors? Is it
You wanna answer that?
What's sort of spurring this?
Well, you know, the population density, we know that, you know, those two precincts represent a large footprint in our city. The data shows us that some of our bad actors, those who are on probation, parole, those that drive our crime are in specific sectors. It's not the whole precincts, but certain areas of the precincts have been our focus over the years, and that continues to drive our crime now. So that's why.
As far as the feds responding to specific scenes
I can tell you now that it's already working with ShotSpotter. Every time we have a ShotSpotter run, we have partnership with the ATF that come out. They do sweeps with us. They bring their tracking dogs out. So this is not a new model, but this just expands it. But ma'am, would you want to talk more about it? That's it.
Oh, yeah. We're, as I said, we've been doing this work. We've just been collaborating already. This is nothing new other than that we are making sure that as the summer comes that we improve our, enhance our enforcement in certain areas. And I told you that we're going to be transparent about our work. I've already gone to the 8th Precinct Community Relations Council and told them about the summer enforcement, passed out the flyers to them like we did last year, and they are ready. I told them about the peaceniks, and they are ready. And I didn't even know this, that there are 88,000 people in the 8th Precinct. It's the most dense, right? There are 88,000 people in the 8th Precinct alone. And so we have used the data to identify these sections. And last year, if you remember, it was only 2 sections of the 8th and 2 sections of the 9th. So we realize now that we need to make that even bigger. And so it's 3 sections in both areas this year. And we've been doing this collaborative work, as I said, for years, quite frankly, and from day one here, and just trying to enhance and keep what works well and improve on what we're doing, and also think of new and other innovative ways to try to address this violent crime in our city.
I know that there's a focus on the 8th and 9th. Are we confident that this is the only area that we should be focusing on?
Well, we're using the data. And that's what all of our stuff is evidence-based, data-driven. And so the data tells us that those are the 2 hot spots. But I want to be clear, we're not just focusing on hot spots. We are focusing on the most violent offenders, the most violent places, and the most violent groups. So this is work that we're doing all over the district and in Detroit. But this is a particular part of our strategy that we're enforcing in these hotspot areas that we have identified as the hotspots based on the data.
And you're also talking about prevention. Is there any other effort other than these peaceniks underway to try to prevent more of this?
Absolutely. We have collaborations with returning citizens. In particular, we just had a reentry symposium. And during the course of this enforcement, we already sent out 200 letters to people on probation, state parole, and federal supervised release. And we have warned them about what we're doing. But in addition to that, we've told them, come to these peaceniks so that you can take advantage of these resources. In addition to that, over the course of this summer enforcement, we will have our returning citizens, our collaboration with them, and we will be talking with returning citizens, those who have been recently released from prison, and we will have not only community engagement with those returning citizens, but we're going to have service providers there to help them to remove the barriers that they face when they are released from prison, because we believe that every person we prevent from committing a crime by making them a productive citizen makes our community better. Every kid at risk that we show them a different way of life to make a different choice makes our community better. So prevention is also public safety. It will only make our community better, along with enforcement. Any other questions?
So the collaborative efforts are already underway and have been going on for quite some time. Is the only real change the threat of a federal prosecution of any crimes in these specific areas?
That is part of it. We did this last year, though. We did the same enforcement last year.
Okay.
And we've expanded it from just felon in possessions to now robberies of commercial places as well as carjackings. And so it is a specific summer enforcement strategy that we did last year and we're doing this year. So that is not a change from when I was here. It's just we've enhanced it even more.
So if it's all data-driven, do you have data showing that this increase in enforcement last year was able to drive lower crime rates in
We-
specific areas?
We had some, a little bit. I'm going to be honest and transparent about our work, and that's why we've looked at it again and tried to enhance it. We had some in some areas, not so it's kind of stayed the same in others. Some it went down considerably, and then so we have looked at all of those things so that we can improve it even more this summer.
What would you consider successful? Being able to see a drop in those specific crimes like summer over summer?
Yeah, and a lack of arrests. We have engaged the community like we did before. If we're arresting fewer people, we consider that success. But we're going to take out, I shouldn't say take out, but we're going to address those people who persist in violence. And that's across the board, but specifically in these very dangerous neighborhoods.
somebody's gonna go out and commit a crime, will that, you know, are they thinking about that? Like, instead of, like, what's the difference between jail when it's the federal system or the Michigan or Wayne County system?
Because if you are a felon in possession in the federal system, you could potentially get 25 years.
Do you have any stats in terms of how many people you went through the program last year? When you arrested?
I don't have those stats with me, and you said went through the program. Again, it was a lack of arrests and it was arrests. So, both, play into that. If we didn't arrest a lot of people, then we consider that a success. Arrest fewer people than we did before in these same areas, that's part of success. You want to answer something? You want to answer something? Okay.
And certainly, for us at DPD, I mean, we want to make sure that we've got opportunities to get these folks prosecuted. Prevention is certainly a big component, but when you look to my left and your right, you see that we have Ceasefire here. Ceasefire is on the ground working in the community, giving folks alternatives, disrupting some of those pathways to prison. So again, we measure success a number of different ways, not necessarily making arrests, but the drop in crime and having not to make arrests is also very successful for us. Returning citizens have opportunities. When you look at what's happening with the collaboration we have with Wayne County Prosecutor's Office and Warren Evans and a number of other partners, Michigan Department of Corrections, we're doing home visits to hopefully change behavior, change decision-making. We're good at locking you up. I mean, we're pretty good at that, but that's not the issue for us. We want to stop the crime. We want to reduce the crime. We want less victims. We want less shootings. We want people to leave their guns at home, and we think we're poised to do just that with this partnership.
Decision to add armed robberies in commercial situations, was there some incidents recently that maybe you wanted to add that to the mix, or?
No, I mean, we've just had a lot of commercial robberies. We just finished a trial yesterday. We just got a guilty verdict on a guy who was going to a number of Walgreens, sneaking through the coolers and holding guns on people and arresting them. So we want those kind of folks who affect our business community and the people within. We already know what happened to somebody who was in a business not too long ago. People who come into the businesses, we want to make sure that they get significant sentences.
Does having defense involved give the police department a certain measure of confidence they didn't have before? Does it help with the lift that is involved in these?
Well, the police department operates with a tremendous amount of confidence. I've got the best police department in the United States of America, and now they're being paid as such, thanks to this mayor. When we collaborate and we talk about what's needed for our community, we do that on a daily basis, and federal partnership is a key component to what we do. This is not something we just started. This is a more precision approach. This is a more directed approach to particular areas of our city that needs to help. I mean, we need all of our partners. It takes a village. You're looking at the village, and we're working together to keep our community safe. So again, this is a good day, a great day for our community. It adds a layered approach. We talked about Ceasefire. They've been on the ground. We've got the sisterhood and the brotherhood on both sides of our city in the 8th and 9th precinct. That's kids that we're giving opportunities to. We're keeping them out of trouble. We're giving them opportunities to be the next reporter, the next police chief, the next U.S. attorney, the next mayor. Those are the conversations that we're having with them, and we're changing their behavior. You know what they told the U.S. attorney when they met her? And they were, by the way, they were very surprised to meet her. What would you like to do for the peace night? We want to play sports. We want to play flag football and 3-on-3 basketball. And immediately the deputy mayor made that happen. Now, is that something we're going to present to you as part of our strategy? No. But every opportunity that you have to disrupt violent activity or expose a young person to violent activity is a win for us. So the layered approach and confidence, that's there. The police officers are focused. They understand how to get folks off the street that are committing violent acts. We want to stop the violent acts. We know we can do that. We know with this potential of this opportunity, we can disrupt some violence. We can get some gang activity off the street. We can get some folks who choose to carry a gun, you're felon in possession, you get to go to jail. We're not going to make any excuses for that. But we also know our returning citizens need opportunities. And guess what? The Detroit Police Department actually hires returning citizens. Some of our best employees working in a particular area of our department, not enforcement, I don't want to embarrass anybody by saying where it is, have been there with us and doing a phenomenal job, and we continue to do that.
And I just want to reiterate is that we have, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, and every other prosecutor's office, quite frankly, in this district. I was just in Saginaw last week. I was in Flint last week. And so we collaborate. This is nothing new. This is how we work. This is what we do. But we're trying to just build on what we have been doing that works, but even enhance it more, because we can't police our way out of everything. We can't arrest our way out of everything. So we're trying to empower communities to take responsibility for themselves as well, to join the partnership to improve the quality of their lives along with us, because we're committed to doing it. We've committed our lives to doing it, but we want them to care about their lives too, so that they will commit to it as well. I did go to the Brotherhood, and not only did I talk to the Community Relations Council, but I went to the Brotherhood in the 8th Precinct and the 9th Precinct with Ceasefire and talked to young men at risk. And I told them there, I think the question was, Mr. Smith, what are you gonna do to save your neighbor, right, over the summer? What are you gonna do to what was the rest of it? I'm sorry, what was it? Yeah, and so they asked me, and I said, mine is to listen to you and try to figure out how I can address your concerns and your needs and help you to the extent that I can. So that's what I did. I wanted to listen to them. I wanted them to have a voice in what we did for their age group at the Peacenik. But in addition to that, I needed to listen to their problems and their concerns so that I could know how we can collaborate and see. We got Black Family Development here. That's why we have them here. We have Ceasefire here. We have Bishop Van here. He's sitting down just because he's here. He's here. He's behind there. And so we bring in all of the community folks that have influence over folks and who can help and provide services to this effort, because we want to try to help them. They are at risk, and if we can change them and make them more productive, and it's all about exposure. If we can expose them to resources, then we make the community better. We make the community safer.
Thank you.
All right? Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, thank you. Thank you so much for your support.